Hello, good evening, everyone. Uh, this is Abhay here. If you can hear me and see me, please somebody write in the chat that you can. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I'm audible. I'm visible as well. Okay, so many of you writing that. Okay, so I welcome all of you. Very interesting. Again, we have a house full, 100 people. That's the maximum Google Meet allows. Yesterday, we had a session with Mr. Rahul Saigaonkar regarding political science and international relation. And today, I have my very good friend for more than half a decade now, a colleague and a person I really admire. He has just left as I was trying to introduce him, but I'm sure he will join again. So, Chandan Mittal. Chandan has been actively teaching sociology for quite some time now. He has taken a break for last 1 year due to some personal reasons. Yes, Chandan has joined in. Chandan, we can't see you. Chandan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Chandan. So I was just introducing you, Chandan.
Am I visible? Am I visible?
No, you're not visible, but I can hear you. Your camera is not picking. On the screen itself, it will have the option to connect your camera.
वो ऑन किया हुआ है सर.
अच्छा अच्छा.
उसके बाद भी वो ले नहीं रहा.
Okay. Anyway, so Chandan is a master in sociology without a degree, though. He has his own great ideas of how to prepare this optional. He himself has scored his best score was 320 odd marks, and he after that and while he was preparing, he was teaching as well and guiding aspirants in terms of how to as we say, the value addition part of it. So, without any further delays, I'll straight away hand over to Chandan. But just a guideline for everybody: please keep yourself on mute. The way we have planned, as the note was also put up, for about 25 to 30 minutes, we will request Chandan sir to discuss whatever he has, his own strategy, his own experiences, and what he thinks is the best way to move for sociology, especially targeting 2020 mains. But yes, we can also catch up during the question sessions if people are there who are planning for 2021 and afterwards. And then after the first half an hour, we'll take up questions. I'll intervene at that time, and I'll moderate who will ask a question. We'll use the chat facility. And if you are interested, if if time is also there, then Chandan has agreed to extend the session by discussing some of the topics further, because we don't want to keep everybody waiting. So we'll do it like a sandwich. First a discussion, then questions, then discussion again. So over to Chandan. Chandan, all yours. You may continue as you feel like.
सर मैं ना उससे ज्वाइन करता हूँ अपने फोन से. लैपटॉप में कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है.
Sure. While you are here, you can join through that also. You don't have to exit. एक बार ज्वाइन करके फिर आप एग्जिट कर लेना. Okay, so while Chandan is trying to join in so that he's visible to all of you, just a second. Let me just try to get Chandan back, and then I'll join you guys. If you have any questions, meanwhile, at least keep them written down so that I'll take them in the order they appear. So don't type in your questions. I mean, I would prefer that you interact with Chandan directly. But if you have written them down, then you can just post it when I announce that we are taking questions. Otherwise, I find a lot of people miss out on asking the questions. Anyway, those of you who are not able to attend or you get kicked out, because I see many people are leaving and trying to come back in. After 100, it may not allow you to come back. I will be putting up the video recording as I have done for those PSIR optional already. So I will definitely do that. As soon as possible. Now, Chandan, just a second. Is coming in. Just a second. I'm just trying to get him back in. because after 800 it just doesn't let anybody else join. So uh,
Okay.
okay.
Can you see me?
Yes, now you're visible, but the camera you might like to just, yes. Oh, welcome, Chandan. Very nice to see you after a while.
Yes, sir. We can see you. Okay.
Okay, Chandan. So yes, let's begin. We have anyway used our time. So you have about half an hour to discuss. Then we'll take up questions and we'll resume afterwards. So over to you, Chandan. Okay, Chandan. So Chandan sir, welcome back. You are here. It's very nice to see you after so long. And thank you for doing this with us. We won't take any more time. Chandan, I think we have half an hour. You can discuss your thoughts, ideas, strategy, and then we'll take up questions after half an hour.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
sir. Hello, everybody. Is there anyone who has attended my classes in Bajira? Sociology? Any of my old students? No? Okay.
Yes, sir, I am here. Sridhar.
Okay, Sridhar. You were in Bajiram batch?
Yes, I was in Mahapatra, sir, batch. So I have attended few of your classes.
So about me, I would like to let you know about what I did in sociology. I started education way back in 2009, and 2010 was my second attempt. And I did all sociology from Bajiram, Mahapatra. But somewhere I was not satisfied. Yesterday, Abhay shared with me a couple of questions that you all are interested, that you are seeking answers to. What I was thinking was the questions have remained the same. What they were 10 years back, they are the same even now. See, I don't want to discourage whatever I say. This is the personal experience. Some of the things you may not like, or you will feel like you don't have time, all that I suggest. But I just want to give a very fair view, which at times we are not able to give on other platforms because due to various reasons. So I think the smartest thing to do in civil services preparation in general and in sociology or any other optional in particular, the smartest thing to do is read books. Okay? No number of notes or the revision of the same notes again and again. These things are not going to these things don't take us anywhere in the long run. We keep looking for a short and smart solution, but the smartest thing is to read. Okay? To read books, not novels. I have read a lot of books in sociology, and I started reading them way back when I joined the coaching for sociology. And I remember in those days there used to be only two bookshops in old Rajendra Nagar, Jawahar Book and other one. Some of you will not even be knowing if there is such bookshop even now. And I once visited the shop and asked them to give me a sociology books. Is it audible now? Is it clear now? So I read a lot of books, okay, and today I'll share with you my strategy, what I did. The one biggest mistake that we do is instead of knowing things, we start thinking on that. What I've realized is sociology is not about thinking; it is about knowing. First point. The difference is you read something on Karl Marx and people come up with their own fancy ideas, and I think it is someone else's mic which is on. It's not my mic. There is no disturbance on my end. So, Abhay sir, can you please switch off all other mics as a host? Okay. So, I'll share with you all the books. Today I got back all my books from the Stag Elmira. I'll show you the books. And what I've realized in the long run, even if you read 8 to 10 books and you read them thoroughly 2 to 3 times, certainly you are going to write good answers. Among all the people I have interviewed, among all the mains answers I have checked, for last 7-8 years, I have seen that people don't write a good answer because उतना क्लैरिटी नहीं है आइडियाज का, स्पेसिफिसिटी नहीं है कॉन्सेप्ट्स में, तो सारा हॉच पॉच और मेसी सा आंसर रहता है सबका. So people, so I read lot of books, first point, and many people ask me about how to make your answers very dynamic. So I'll speak that how I did that. For example, just to start with, many of you might be aware of Jesus in Disneyland thesis. It is a postmodern thesis on religion. It says that God is no longer trapped in the church. God has come out of the church. Nowadays, if you go to Disneyland or something, so there are themes from Bible which people enjoy. Now, this is a postmodern thesis. Jesus in Disneyland is a postmodern thesis. A similar kind of thing, a similar kind of work has been done in India by Sanjay Shrivastava. He talks about Akshardham temple here in India. He says people visit Akshardham temple not due to their religiosity, but to satisfy their consumerism and entertainment. So religion is not about religiosity nowadays. Religion is more about consumerism. See the online business of horoscopes and truth tellers, talking with the dead. The business has grown over time. So to say society has become more secular is a very simplistic statement. Society has not become secular because of internet and in the modern age, in the postmodern or modern age. The way people practice religion, those things have changed. Somewhere religion has come in collaboration with consumerism and entertainment. So that is a postmodern thesis. And I remember when in 2013 when I wrote my exam, I wrote about Chhota Bheem, the popularity of Chhota Bheem, that cartoon, that channel thing, series that for kids. And it was a very popular series in that time. So I said, even in India, there is a coming back of religion, mixed in the bag of consumerism and entertainment. For example, the popularity of shows like Chhota Bheem and all. So now this answer of mine, nobody would have written it, I can tell you. I have not seen any student writing about Chhota Bheem or postmodern religious ideas in any of their answers. So you can make good answers if you read well. And I am not a very big fan of any notes of anybody. Okay, notes are more like when you attend some classes, they help you touch the boundaries of the subject. They don't make you expert of the subject. The biggest problem with the people who prepare only from notes is they're not able to clearly understand the boundaries between different concepts. Many people I've seen, when they start talking about social facts of Durkheim, somewhere they start writing on Weber's ideal type. When the question is about social facts of Durkheim, people venture into Weber's ideal type kind of things. Likewise, when people speak about Marx's historical materialism, they start speaking on that. They start writing something which is not pertaining to Marx, which is completely wrong. That is where your marks you get less marks. And these things matter a lot when you are sitting in interview. I remember in one of my panelists in interview, he asked me about Dumont and Bete. That was my favorite topic in those days. And even today, only a few of you will be able to, if I ask a question, only one or two of you will be able to answer me on how André Bete criticized Dumont. Okay, and almost 99% of the students present today, they will not be comfortable in writing an answer on André Bete on caste. Okay, so these are the perennial problems. They have existed over the period of time. Every aspirant faced that, and you might also be going through that. So my conviction is that you must read books. I am writing one of my cousin. She has started preparing for the civil services. And we have started from the books, not from the notes. So this is one thing I want to say. Second thing, many of you get stuck how to write, what not to write. See, if I ask you, you explain me something about a good movie. Let us say you have watched some good movie, whatever a good movie is in recent times. Now, when you explain a movie, what will you pick? What will you say? You will talk about direction, you will talk about videography, you will talk about choreography, you will talk about dialogue, script. Okay? So you'll be speaking the language in which movie can be described. Likewise, sociology has its own language. So what are the alphabets of that language? Caste, rural, urban, class, women, tribe, stratification, power elite, Sanskritization, westernization. Okay? These are not just simple English words. Each and every paper, each and every encyclopedia, literature of sociology talks about these concepts. Okay, this is like this language gives you wings. Suppose the one question was how to write on something which is out of context in mains. So whatever is out of context, you start thinking on that from these alphabets, from the point of view of these alphabets. How can you relate it with tribes? How can you relate it with women? How can you relate it with exploitation? How exploitation, marginalization, social discrimination, social exclusion. So once you start looking at any topic while reading a book, while preparing, while writing answers, you start thinking in terms of these alphabets, your answers will fall in line. You will start hitting the what has been asked. One thing next that I want to talk about is there are two things that have to be done on any topic. One is talking about the core thinkers. What are the core thinkers in paper one? Durkheim, Marx, Weber, or Parsons and Merton. Okay, these are 5 core thinkers of, or Mead nowadays. So these are the 6 core thinkers of the paper one. Any topic in paper one, take any topic, social change, politics, religion, you must know the viewpoint of these core thinkers. It may be possible that some Mead has no view on religion, so leave Mead. Whatever thinkers you are available, मतलब किस टॉपिक के ऊपर कोर थिंकर का व्यू आपको पक्का पता होना चाहिए. Let us say कि some thinker, for example, Durkheim has not spoken anything on family, so leave Durkheim. So you must know what has Weber said on family or Marx has told on family. If Weber has also not talked anything about family, then leave Weber also. Then you must know what Marx has said on family. So what I say is, there have to be 2 layers. One layer is what the core thinker has said on the topic. Second is the topic specific thinker. Suppose you are preparing something on power, chapter of politics. So you must know Weber and Marx, what have they said. Then you come to the next topic. You come to power elite, for example, a topic. Then you must know what has C. Wright Mills said on that topic, because power related is a term he has popularized. So, and if you talk about some other topic, political changes, you must know the thinker of that particular secondary thinker. So core thinker plus secondary thinker, when reflected in your answer, it makes your answer too much of sociological. It makes it very sociological, okay? And that fetches you good marks. So for every topic, I had prepared both the layers of thinkers. So you may also do that. Then one thing I've realized, I feel you are prepared in sociology when you want to write answers. There was time when I started preparation and I never wanted to write an answer. जब भी मुझे आंसर लिखना रहता था, I always used to think, oh, I'll read more, revise more, then I'll write. So that is what I've been doing for 2-3 years, okay? I did not write any answer. But then I was able to break my inertia and I started writing answers.
And I came to a point, I became a person who always wanted to write an answer. Whenever I used to wake up in the morning, like 5 o'clock, 6, the first thing that I always wanted to do was to write an answer. So, any of you who has got that kind of infatuation with answer writing will surely clear the exam. Now, how to develop that? How will it come? That the desire to write answers. There are two things. You read good material. When you start reading good material, your concepts will get more and more specific, and more clarity will come. And then your answers will be more specific, and you will start enjoying writing answers. So you must come to a stage where you are enjoying writing answers. That is what happened with me. Then many of you have asked me about various books. Now, today I'll show you all the books that I have read, and I could not locate many of them. And those who are preparing for the next year must take this advice and start reading these books. These books do not take much time. They will take maybe 6 months or whatever, but they will give you an understanding. Nobody in India will be having that. I can give it in writing. Okay, I have not seen any student till date who has read any of the books. Even my own batchmates in civil services from sociology, they have not read the books. Okay, so I'll just show you a few good books. And Harlumbus, okay, Harlumbus is a standard book. That blue book, the thicker one, take it as a textbook and read it thoroughly. Few chapters have to be read thoroughly, and other chapters for other topics, just go to the back of the book. In the index, whatever topic you are discussing, power elite, open the index. Wherever power elite has been discussed in Harlumbus, read that particular paragraph. Open that page and read that paragraph. So that is a good approach to cover that textbook. For example, now let us, whatever book come, I'll show you. I read this book, okay? Can you see that? ये तो उल्टा दिख रहा है आपको? Okay, this is a book by M.N. Srinivas, Caste, its 20th century avatar. Okay. Now, you cannot understand caste unless you read this book. And you might be knowing, many of you might be aware of the concept of Sanskritization, but you'll not be feeling too much home with that concept, okay? You'll not be comfortable with that. Once you read this book, you will understand what is Sanskritization. When I was preparing for a year, I was not very much amused with the idea of Sanskritization. लगता था कि हाँ ठीक है, मतलब normally ही है, common sense है. But when I read the book, I started appreciating what a wonderful work M.N. Srinivas has done. Okay, so this is the book on caste by M.N. Srinivas that I read. Then this is a good book on sociology, poor economics by Abhijit Banerjee, the Nobel laureate of last year. I see a lot of sociology in this book. If you're writing mains this year or next year, you must quote a few things from this book. I never read this book, but there's a lot of sociology in this book, poor economics. Then, if you want to understand what is caste and politics in India, this is the book. Rajni Kothari, he wrote on, the book name is Caste in Indian Politics by Rajni Kothari. This is a wonderful book. You will understand everything about politics. You don't have to go anywhere to get the core understanding of the subject. 80% of the work will be done if you read this book. And people, there are 2 volumes of Mandelbaum's book, Society in India. There are 2 volumes. It is a simple read. It is not a very complex reading. This book help you move in each and every topic that is relevant in paper 2. Okay, Society in India by Mandelbaum. I read this book by Robert Stern, Changing India by Robert Stern. It is a simple novel type book. It can be read. It doesn't take much time. Okay. Then I read a book on by Amartya Sen, Development as Freedom. Okay, and I read a book on. Now this is also a good book. There's a lot of sociology in this. Homo Deus. Many of you would have read it simply, but this is a very good book with a lot of sociological perspectives. Then there is a one book edited by Mahapatra sir. It has a very good collection of topics. Society and Culture in India by Mahapatra sir, Subhas Mahapatra. The articles selected by sir in this book are wonderful. For example, I'll tell you for paper 2, the thinkers given in this book, Carol Upadhyay. See, if somebody has read Carol Upadhyay, then you do not have to worry about what Ghure has said in Indian sociology. If you want to prepare Ghure as a topic, just read Carol Upadhyay's this article. Nothing else has to be done. Okay. Likewise, if you want to understand what Dumont has said on caste, T.N. Madan's article is very helpful. So just read all the articles given in this book by Mahapatra sir. And one best book which has shaped my understanding is a book by Dipankar Gupta, Anti-Utopia. Okay, this is a book by Dipankar Gupta. This book contains all the writings of Andre Bete. Dipankar Gupta has not written anything new. He has just reproduced the writings of Andre Bete. This is a wonderful book for paper 2. And one thing I can assure, those who have not read the books, once you start reading the books, you will realize that you have fooled yourself for so many months or years, and you will feel like you are simply wasting time and roaming around without any knowledge of sociology. But once you read these books, I can assure you, you can compete with the best and the best in the country for the sociology exam. So, one is this. Now, other thing, or two more things I want to talk. Abhay sir, do I have more time, or should I take questions?
No, I think we can continue for 10 minutes and then we will take questions.
Okay, done. So, one thing I want to summarize. I do it with every student that I interact to show them what is sociology, so that they are able to appreciate that. I just ask one question. You just answer me in the chat. What is modern? Can somebody tell me what is modern? Just you can type in chat what is modern. I give 1 minute. What is meant by modern? What is meant by modernity? Okay, somebody has said break from past, Anand. Anything that departs from prevail, Prakriti. Break from past, Samson. Evolution of thought, anything that evolved. Somebody has said technological advancement, changes in mode of production, current development. Modern is that which is not traditional, departure from tradition. Okay, wonderful. All that you have said does not explain what is modern. Every today is modern. No, Ayushi Parekh, you are too philosophical. Change in social order. No, now listen to me. No. Thinking new is not modern. Rethinking, no. Listen, no. Modern is a name of an age that happened in Europe from 1600th century till today. Ancient India, medieval India, modern India. You read 3 books. What does that mean? Modern means an age, a time frame of 300, 400 centuries. All the changes that happen in those centuries in Western Europe, that is called as modern. Anything that happened is said modernity in those centuries, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. A lot of changes took place. Changes took place in science, in almost every sphere of life. All that is called modern change. But modern by itself, modern per se, means name of an age, Western Europe, 16th century, 1600s onwards till date, okay? Yeah, modern age. Now, somebody has pointed it rightly. I'll go in more detail. Okay, let us go back to, I'll just take 5 minutes. 6th century BC, 6th century BC was Greek, ancient Aristotle, Plato, and those things. Okay. Then around 1st century was Jesus Christ, and Christianity came around 4th century AD. So from 4th century AD to 14th century AD, Christianity was dominating. Okay, something different happened in 14th century. I'm using these centuries very loosely. Okay, those who are history Nazis, so kindly excuse me. There can be variations. You'll say not 14th, that is 15th, whatever. But I'm just taking roughly. Okay. So from 4th century AD to 14th century AD, it was dark age that was prevailing. There was dominance of the church. Now in 14th century AD, Ottoman Turks attacked the church, okay, whatever, on the western side of the Mediterranean, on the eastern side of the Mediterranean. So Ottoman Turks, when they attacked, a lot of people already settled there. They started shifting to Italy, the other side of the Mediterranean. When they went to the other side of Mediterranean, basically Greeks went. The eastern side of Mediterranean is more Greeks, okay, and the western side is more Italian. So Italian, that Latin thing. So when Ottoman Turks attacked, many of the scholars and people, they took their books, literatures, they went to Rome. Now what happened? Were separated in time and space. All the Greek literature, ancient Greek literature, when it went to Rome, people started reading it. So every 1,000 years, even if you read Ramayana, a new interpretation will come. So something like that happened even there in 14th century, when a new interpretation was happening of the ancient Greek literature. People said, "Oh, Greek society was such a wonderful society. We need to go back to that society." That is when Renaissance came. Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth of what? Rebirth of the ancient Greek society. So in a way, if you imagine, somewhere, the Renaissance gave a new thought. It said we must, something like what Dayanand Saraswati said, go back to Vedas. So something like that happened in 14th century after Ottoman Turks attack. So when all Greek literature was revised and understood again in 14th century, new thoughts came up. Okay, Renaissance was not a secular affair, but a new interpretation came. Okay, it went on 1400s and 1500s. So in 1500s, listen to this very carefully. Okay, what I'm discussing today, I can assure you, very few will be knowing what I'm speaking today. You would have heard all these words, but you will not be having conceptual clarity. So I just want to clear the concept, and I'll tell you the book which has made me understand that concept. It is given in Ritzer, the starting pages of Ritzer. Okay, George Ritzer. So in 1500s, some scientific discoveries took place. In around 1550, Galileo thing came up. Then around 1610, Kepler was there. Then 1690s, 80s, Newton came up. So scientific age started. So first was Renaissance, second was scientific age. This was a time when scientific methods developed to discover the reality, to understand natural sciences, to study the natural physical phenomena. So there was advent of scientific methods in 1600s, 1700s. Now what happened? Let us say from end of 1700s, what happened? Not end of 1700s, start 1600s and 1700s. In 1700, by 1750, people in France, we are talking about only Western Europe, okay? We are not talking about India, we are not talking about Eastern Europe. People in France, what they did, they said, if such good things can be discovered by using scientific methods, then why not to use scientific methods to understand history, to understand society, politics, how much power should be given to the king? Now that is a big question. So can we use any scientific methods to discover that? Why there is a conflict in society? Can there be scientific methods to discover the truth? Such kind of philosophical thoughts started coming up. And people actually started using observation, data collection, these kind of things, scientific methods, to study society. When people started using scientific methods to study society. They started following empiricism, rationalism, reason, okay, to study society, politics. Uh, this led to enlightenment. Many of you will not be aware of what is enlightenment. Many of you, mostly when people speak about enlightenment, you start talking about Renaissance. There is a gap of around 200, 300 years between Renaissance and enlightenment. Okay, if a question is on enlightenment, okay, people start writing answers on Renaissance. How will you get good marks? Okay, so the idea that scientific methods should be used to study society, it was a very new idea. This was something which has changed the world. This thought led to discovery of social sciences. Montesquieu, Rousseau, Voltaire, they were the pioneer philosophers who advocated these ideas. Okay, so that is Enlightenment age. Locke, somebody has said Locke, you need to understand who were the philosophers and who were the social scientists. So 1600s, 1700s, you will see more of philosophers. Karl Marx makes an entry around 1830s, 1840s, okay? That is the time when sociology starts, 1830s, 1840s. Durkheim's writings are also of that period. Weber is later. So sociology starts from mid of 1800s. You can safely assume that. So social sciences developed after Enlightenment. So what is modern? We started with that, something which started in France, Western Europe. Now, can India be modern? No, India cannot be modern, okay? If you go strictly by the concept. Because modern is an age. वो तो time निकल गया. You cannot be modern. You can follow the ideals of modernity and you can do various things, whatever happened there, but you cannot evolve like that, whatever they have done. So, now you will understand these things when you read, for example, Dipankar Gupta has written a book, Mistaken Modernity. Why India cannot be modern? Why people feel they are modern, but it is mistaken idea that we are modern. So, and one more thing, last thing that I want to add is, sociology is a study of modern societies. You will not be studying any society which is not modern. This is where we differ from anthropology, social anthropology. Anthropology studies traditional societies, okay? But modernity from above, okay? So anthropologists, they study traditional societies, but sociology, you study modern societies. So you do not have to know much about whatever happened in the traditional societies. But when we study India, now the good thing in India is all the thinkers which you think are sociologists, Andre Bete and all, they are actually social anthropologists. Because India is a traditional society which has recently started adopting modernity, modern ideas. So India में sociologists और anthropology दोनों की books जो हैं, ideas जो हैं, concepts जो हैं, वो overlap करते हैं. दोनों एक साथ ही चलते हैं. So this is one idea I wanted to explain today, modernity. And due to lack of time, I cannot go into details, but you must know Dumont-Bete debate. Andre Bete and Louis Dumont, they were, you can say, once you read their articles, you will feel कि ये दोनों दुश्मन थे एक दूसरे के. Bete has criticized Dumont like anything. Okay, so once you read that debate, it will be so exciting. You will understand. So you will understand what Dumont has said. You will understand what Bete has said. That comparison gives you good answer. Now start reading. Now one more thing has come up. Ki, you can adopt a comparative approach. Suppose you have to read what Bete said on something. So read on what his critics say. Once you understand the critics, what they say on Bete's writings, you will understand what Bete has said on his own writings. So just by reading Bete, you cannot understand Andre Bete. Just by reading Dumont, you cannot understand Dumont on caste or whatever Indian society. You need to understand what their critics have said. So I want to quote a few more books, thinkers, for example, to understand agrarian Indian society, agrarian class structure, agrarian social structure. You guys must read articles by B.B. Mohanty. He is in Pondicherry University. You must read articles by Dhanagere. Dhanagere has done a wonderful work in India. Okay. And that's it. That's what I was planning to tell randomly.
Great, Chandan sir. So on that note, maybe we can take up some questions. I will request those people who are preparing for 2020 to ask first. Basically, the request is to other ones to ask later, because Chandan sir has allocated a lot of time for us today. He's going to be here, so that's not an issue. So those of you who wish to ask any question, you can just type in the chat that you have a question or you want to ask a question. Well, the name of the person is XYZABC. People prefer to have a name which makes sense in our kind of country or on this planet. I don't know why you have to hide your identity. Himanshu Bansal, go ahead, ask your question straight away. I'm not going to read so much. Himanshu, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, I'll take. Sir, I have a question that recently. Just a minute.
We've got Anand Ranjan's question, which says why modernity has to be understood only from Western perspective. Maybe Chandan sir, you can answer that. While
see, modernity can be understood only from Western perspective, because there is no Indian perspective on modernity. Okay, and modernity, the modern, for example, to understand modernity, you need to know Weber. Weber has already decoded what is modernity. So, what is modernity to Weber? It is rationality. Weber has explained modernity in just one word, that is rationality. Okay, so there are a good Western perspectives which explain modernity, so it has to be understood from that perspective. Yeah.
Right. Okay, XYZ का question मैं पढ़ देता हूँ. How to inculcate current affairs examples in our answers? Essentially, that is the question. If you can demonstrate.
This is a very contextual kind of a thing. There can be some questions in which current affairs can be inculcated, okay, but there cannot be any rule on how to do it. अगर question आता है और आप you are able to relate it, then you can just put a line in that, and you start practicing now start writing such answers in which you inculcate current affairs.
Okay. Can I ask Himanshu Bansal to unmute and ask your question straight? Himanshu?
Yeah, it's a big.
I mean, it's better they interact also, Chandan sir, I think. Okay, if he's having difficulty, then Sridhar Martand, you can ask. Sridhar?
Sir, my question is how to go about, while we write answer, how to get it checked? Because like what the problems from the teacher's perspective, we should know. Like you told us that modernity is an age. Generally, we write about like this only, that modernity is some kind of mental status that someone achieved.
See, when you okay, one more thing that I can tell is, we all are preparing for civil service exam. First point, this has to be very clear. None of the aspirant, he should not become Karl Marx or Weber. Okay, aspirant is nothing. Aspirant is just an aspirant. He must not take the that he must not become a thinker by himself. See, when you say modernity is a mental status, it means you have taken the position of somebody who has equated modernity, to whom modernity was idealism, not realism. Karl Marx will not agree with your point if you say modernity is a mental state, because Marx was a realist. Hegel might agree with you. Okay, modernity is a mental state, or is a mental state. So you must take a position. Either you mention the name of the thinker, कि भाई according to this thinker, this is modernity. But if you simply write something, then take standard definitions. And Oxford Dictionary of Sociology is it gives the standard definitions of every concept. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sridhar. Namrata Rehlan. Namrata, you want to unmute and ask? Number
Sir, I want to ask, sir, I have made notes from Nitin Sangwan and I have attended Mahapatra sir classes in 2018 and I have made short notes from both two sources. So is it sufficient to cover both from static part as I have read to Shranshu also, Ignu also, there is replication of the concept. So I refer only two and make short notes from that. It is easy to revise at that time because if I write 2020 mains and I find it easy to cover. So it is sufficient or I have to read more books.
See, it depends upon your preparation. If you have, if I read Mahapatra sir and Sangwan's notes today, I think it will be sufficient for me. Okay, but I do not
Yes,
know
sir.
if they wish for you. So you must write a few answers, get them checked from the proper whatever test series you join, and if you feel
Okay.
something is missing, then you must fill those gaps. You must read.
Sir, which books in limited time I should prefer? Which
Instead of
books in
reading,
this time?
you can in limited time you cannot read books as such, but you must read some articles from EPW. One thing I forgot to mention. For last 5 years, whenever I prepared, 2009 to 14, 13, I had a subscription of EPW, Economic and Political Weekly, online subscription, and I read a lot of articles on that. For example, you enter Dhanagere, you enter Vete in that, article will come, and just read those articles. So now, Namrata, your specific doubts answer is, suppose you're not able to write a good answer on politics,
Yes, sir.
just find out which is a good thinker that you want to follow in that topic. Type that thinker's name in EPW or on Google or whatever. Read that thinker's article, one article. That's it. In short time, this can be done.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Namrata. Aditya has a simple question, Chandan sir. He says, how many years previous question papers are to be solved?
As many as possible. When I wrote mains in 2013, I joined 3 test series of sociology. So,
Okay.
as many answers you can write there. That is good.
So start
It
going
is better
backwards
to
and
sweat.
jitna kar pao utna kar lo.
It is better to sweat in practice than to bleed in war, right?
Yeah. Anupam again has a one-line question: how to tackle dynamism in second paper?
Dynamism.
In second paper.
Yeah, you will be able to tackle dynamism in second paper once you have conceptual clarity and you are reading EPW, and I don't know why I'm saying D, EPW, and
I think that's the CPWD coming to you.
yeah, it is CPWD coming from EPW. So you can show a few answers and we can make them more dynamic. Then you will understand how to do it.
Okay. Roshan Balsare says, I have already done sociology coaching from institute. My notes already look like a Harlem bus. Well,
The students must not make big lengthy notes. Okay, all notes are made in the brain. So that makes a good. You can say you are prepared when you have single page notes.
yes, absolutely correct, sir.
So if you have a single page which has only keywords written, the alphabets of the language of the subject or the topic written, that is something that is useful. Just copying from Harlambas or any other book and writing in your register, they are not notes. It is time wastage. So even I never made my notes. Okay, I started making notes only when I started teaching in Vadira. Yeah.
Okay. Bhavan Sai, you can ask your question now. Bhavan?
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, you told about not feeling like writing answers. Then your attitude changed towards answer writing. I feel like I'm in such a position, like I'm forcing myself to write an answer initially. Like what you told, I totally relate. Can you just elaborate on that more, because I couldn't grasp what you told in the first time. So can you just elaborate on that? Yeah.
See, when I started preparation, I never wanted to write. I was just finding some excuses like I do not know. I'm yet to revise the topic. Okay, I'll write tomorrow. I'll discuss and write. So this went on for 2-3 years. Okay, so see, I got selected in fourth attempt. So this went on for 2-3 attempts. Uh, but then I said, no, okay, enough is enough. I must write. Then I started writing answers, and you cannot believe. At times, I wrote real bad answers. Okay, and now there are two things which are there in the good answer. One is, do not write a big paragraph explaining everything. You must write maybe 2 to 3 sentences in one paragraph, and one paragraph must cover one dimension of an answer. So a good answer will have around 3 to 4, 4 to 5 dimensions, different ideas, and every dimension covered in around 2 to 3 sentences. So 2 to 3 sentences will come in around 4 to 5 lines of the answer. So one is this. Second, you'll get the desire to write answer once you understand that you have to hit the bullseye. Whatever is being asked by the question, write that, not what you know about it. Okay. Many people, when they read a question, they start writing notes on that. They do not answer the question. They just start whatever they know. Once you develop a habit by writing 10 answers or whatever, that I have to write precisely what is being asked, that thing will grow within you. You'll start feeling like writing more answers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, just one more last question, sir. Sir, you gave a list of around 10 books. I don't think so.
Yes.
For this mains, we'll be able to. It is I don't think so it is wise to read it for this mains. But
Yes.
are you suggesting it for the next? If we are writing for 2021, is it that way, or you feel that at least one of the books we should do it for this mains only? I didn't get it is little I'm getting a little anxious. Like there are these many books that I've not even heard of. I'm except for Mahapatra sir's book. So that one thing, yeah. Thank you.
See, my true understanding is, my true realization is, books must be read. But now, since you do not have time, so you cannot read books at this stage. Okay. So now you start practicing more answers. It is ultimately answers that will fetch you good books. So work on your answers, work on getting them, and you can do it. One more thing I want to mention. When you are writing answers, do not develop time orientation. Previous mains that I wrote total of 4 mains. Okay, in the 3 mains that I wrote, I always had a time orientation, or 2 minutes, 5 minutes for an answer. But in the last mains, I had a space orientation. Suppose your answer sheet, that script answer, that book that they provide, UPSC gives, when one page is covered, you must know that, okay, 50 words are over. So whatever question, if it is a 200 marks question, you must be prepared, okay, I have to write 1.5 page. And once 1.5 page is over, you have to just stop there or wind up your answer before that. So once you do that, you will be able to finish your paper, okay? Otherwise, in mains, one is not even able to finish the paper. By developing time orientation, develop a space orientation. So this is one good tool to keep things in track. And in that space of 1.5 page, make sure you're writing 4 paragraphs and you're mentioning 4 dimensions. One big mistake that people do in sociology, on one dimension, they elaborate it unnecessarily. It is to be strictly avoided. Nobody reads that. So make it, as Mukul Pathak sir used to say, kiss therapy. Keep it simple and short. Every answer has to be like that. Every paragraph has to be that.
Perfect. Pushpendra Nathani? If you're there, Pushpendra Nathani? No?
Yes, sir. So
yes.
actually, I want to say that as we have a very, around 3 months left. So which paper, 1 or 2, we should give more time, as it is considered that first paper is quite static portion we can revise, and paper 2 is quite dynamic. We have to interact with current affairs and others. So we should give more time to which paper?
See, both the papers are of 250 marks. Okay.
Yes.
We need to score in both. In UPSC, one mistake takes 1 year. If
Yes.
you do good paper 1 and not in paper 2 or 2-1 or in essay, it might result in failure. Okay? So how much time is to be given? It depends specifically on your preparation. Like for example, I was very good on paper 1 and I always scored very good in paper 1. So, but paper 2 it remained weak. The reason it remained weak was I had not read books. But once I read the books, then I didn't have to give much time on paper 2. So if you feel to wherever you are weak, just plug in that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Aditya Chaurasia has a simple question, Chandan sir. It says, should we mix paper 1 terms and thinkers in paper 2?
See, concepts of paper 1 can certainly be used in paper 2, but unnecessarily pushing Marx, Durkheim, Weber in paper 2 doesn't make sense. Why doesn't make sense? Just a question to you. Pushpekar is asking. Just a question to Aditya.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell
Yes,
me
sir.
who is India's Weber?
I don't remember.
Okay. And Dipankar Gupta has said Andre Bete is India's Weber.
Okay.
So, in paper 2, instead of writing on Max Weber, you mention about Andre Bete. That is more specific. You'll be able to hit the answer, hit the question, and it will be more relevant. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir,
Likewise-
apart from
likewise-
this, I had one more additional question that since I had recently purchased that 35-year previous year questions, so I was wondering to which thing I must give more priority to test series or to previous year question papers in sociology.
See, if you have joined some test series, then right answers, because test series will evaluate. Now, again, one more thing to everybody. See, there are two ways in which we grow. One is evolution, and second is intervention. Now, all of you know that evolution is a long-term process. Okay, whatever evolutionary changes happen, they happen in long run. If you just start writing in your closed room, okay, and nobody is telling you, okay, this is wrong, this is right, nobody is giving a good feedback, you will just be evolving, and evolution will take long time. Instead, you must follow interventionist approach. So follow test series, get feedback, make corrections, move forward. And whenever you write test series, whatever teacher will be there, you can always request them, कि sir मैंने previous year में ये दिखा है, please check this also. First point. Second, most of the test series, they ask these previous year questions also. They slightly twist the words here and there. They ask same questions. So test series is a better way. It is an interventionist approach rather than evolution.
Sir, and apart from this, I have one more question that I recently completed note making from some coaching class lectures that I had joined recently, and sir had given his 2 reference books. But later on, I observed that some of his concepts were quite blurred. Means he used to give his own terminology, which were not those of standard authors. Means he used to somewhat mix the words. So should I revisit that entire topic from any other source, or should I continue learning that, because it is really very time consuming to edit the notes, you know?
See, whatever teacher has given the notes, see, whenever you depend too much on coaching, they will always blur your understanding. You will not be able to appreciate the differences between the concepts. You will not be able to keep your concepts tight. So, this is the problem everyone will be facing. What I suggest is you must ensure that you are very specific on the concepts, that you are able to actually understand the subject. Do not become slave to a coaching teacher or somebody, okay? It is better to become slave of a good book. Yeah.
Sir, and
Aditya, we will have to move on. we will come back to you again. I'm really sorry. We have a lot of people asking questions. So I'll now ask Adil Zafar Ansari. Adil,
Yes, sir.
yeah, you can please ask your question.
Yes, sir. Exactly. I want to say that when you said about the books that they give better understanding, I could totally relate because when I studied Ritzer, it really broadened my scope. But the problem with Ritzer is it only talks about the three classical thinkers and not the later thinkers. So the thing that I'm struggling with is from where I must read the other three thinkers, and secondly, from where I should read about the thinkers that have been mentioned in the paper two. Because Ritzer is a very good book, but I'm unable to find any other book like Ritzer, which crisply and in a sociological terms and in a very beautiful terms they explain about the concepts as well as the thinkers.
Yes. See, one thing, everyone reads only three thinkers from Ritzer, but the first chapter of the book, the introduction and the first chapter, they are beautifully written. They explain you everything about Enlightenment, French Revolution, Industrial Revolution, and a lot of other things. So please read that also. Now, coming to the second, where to read Talcott Parsons and Merton and others, I think YouTube or Google is the best way to understand Parsons and Merton. Follow some lectures on YouTube, and that is the best way. Nobody in old Rajendra Nagar is able to explain Talcott Parsons. I can say that. So, second question is that. And on Indian thinkers, EPW is a very good course. Read a few articles here and there. Then I referred a couple of books. See now what you should do in paper 2. Okay, everyone listen. For in paper 2, for every topic, there is a thinker, okay? Agrarian class structure, capitalist society in India, social movements in India, Ghanshyam Shah, okay? Politics in India, Rajni Kothari. Just make a map linking thinker with a topic with a thinker. Once you are able to say, okay, this is the topic and this is the thinker in that. Now Google that thinker and read one article of that thinker. That's it. For those who are writing mains this year, at least read one article of a thinker. So in total, you will have to read around 20-25 articles. That's it. So this is one way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Chandan sir, Prakriti has a simple question that can we refer to IGNOU notes for preparing basics of concepts?
See, why to go to IGNOU notes when you have other very good sources? IGNOU notes are good if you are a very basic level learner, but if you have done coaching and you are good in English, you can understand, comprehend, then you may refer to IGNOU notes here and there. But largely, you have to refer Harlumbus. Largely, you have to refer books. Now, the problem is, why I say no IGNOU notes? IGNOU notes have been written by people who, I don't know if they have understood sociology. Okay, there will be some research scholars doing research. They have just written something. For example, I want to cover one topic, small topic. Okay, just I'll take 2 minutes. All of you have read Durkheim. All of you have read social facts. You know material social fact, non-material social fact. Can you guys now? I'll not ask question. I'll just tell you guys. Okay, what difference it makes to read a good book, and what difference it makes to read Harlumbus. This IGNOU. Durkheim, when he said he wanted to study why there is peace in society, why there is no conflict in society. Okay, he said, okay, then I want to study this. Why people are all integrated. Now to study that, he said, I want to study solidarity in society. Why there is solidarity in society? Why there is no fight? Now, solidarity is a non-material social fact which he wanted to study. How to do that? It is not visible. Its solidarity is there, but you just cannot touch it. Solidarity. So he said, when he defines social fact, one social fact emerges from the other social fact. Okay. He said, I want to study solidarity. So how should I study? He started studying law. He started looking at law. Can I get an answer of solidarity from law? Because law is law, legal code. Legal code is a material social fact. You can see it, what is written in that. So he studied legal codes of traditional societies and modern societies. He came, now what next? When he studied that, he made a difference, repressive and restorative laws. So what he wanted to study was solidarity. He indexed solidarity with legal code. So to say this, he wanted to study a non-material social fact, social solidarity. To study that non-material social fact of social solidarity, he needed to index it with something that is material fact. And Durkheim used legal code as a material fact to study something non-material social fact. Now, this is a simple thing. And there are around 85-90 people in this chat. The clarity that I have said, I don't think people have understood it with this clarity. कि वो पढ़ना तो solidarity था, पढ़ने लग गया law. क्यों पढ़ा उसने? क्योंकि उसने indexing किया एक material social, एक social fact को दूसरे social fact के साथ. किसी भी इग्नो की किताब में इतना simple concept, simple तरीके से explained ही नहीं है. They have not been able to. Now, where is it given? It is given in Ritzer. You read Ritzer, you will understand. Yeah, somebody, Aniket has said it, Ritzer has explained it. Yeah, very true. Only when you read Ritzer, you will understand what Durkheim said. IGNO is not going to explain you because books written by IGNO are mediocre. They are meant to pass that graduation or post-graduation exams. So they're not very good books.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Arpit,
and I've read all the books, I can say that.
Arpit Srivastav, you want to ask a question now? Arpit?
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, the question that I would like to ask is that, for example, while preparing paper 2, and for preparing like topics like rural sociology, I was referring to books like Dr. Yogen Singh's article and others. But there has been a gap when these books were written, and there is the gap is. Sir, my question is just simple that how to fill the, because it was written in somewhere around 70s, and the things have changed a lot. So in that sense, what would be a better solution to update the gap?
See, Yogendra Singh's Modernization of Indian Tradition, are you referring to that?
Yes, sir.
See, that is a wonderful book, and no such book has been written in India, and I do not think any such book will be written in next 50 years. And whatever that book has explained, it is a theoretical book. See, theories do not develop in 20, 30, 50 years. It takes 100 years, 200 years to develop a theory. And what Yogendra Singh has done, he has used the Western theoretical constructs and applied them on India. Okay. So whatever Yogendra Singh has written, nothing has changed, and nor will it change in next 20, 30, 40 years. It is a very relevant book. Okay. Since Arpit has, Arpit sir, मेरे पास time है थोड़ा और बोलने का?
Please go ahead.
Okay. देखो. See, now listen, people. Arpit has mentioned that book. Now the beautiful thing written in the book is, you will understand Hinduism from that book. You will understand the sociology side of it. See, in Ved, that little traditions and great traditions. Okay, that is what I am referring to. देखो इंडिया में Hinduism में there are lot many gods. So some gods are Vedic in origin, and some gods are okay. Now, for example, I'll give an example. See, Veds, they do not mention about Shiv. वेद में रुद्र है. रुद्र की जब जो ब्राह्मणिकल फॉर्म है वो शिव है. जो ब्राह्मण अपर कास्ट ने रुद्र की जब पूजा किया, when they started following practicing, तो वो शिव बन गया. शिव, ठीक है. जब लोअर कास्ट ने जो इन्फ्लुएंस हुई रुद्र से या शिव से, जो भी, उन्होंने भैरवनाथ बना लिया. जिस जाति ने जहां पे भी जिस जाति whichever caste, whatever level it was working, somewhere is they created their own God. And Yogendra Singh says that in India there are great traditions followed by the upper caste, and there are little traditions followed by the masses. Okay. Likewise, वेद में शक्ति मेंशन्ड है, गॉडेस शक्ति. ब्राह्मणिकल फॉर्म दुर्गा बन गई, लोअर कास्ट की काली बन गई. और हिंदुइज्म का जो स्ट्रक्चर है, इट अकोमोडेटेड बोथ ग्रेट ट्रेडिशंस एंड लिटिल ट्रेडिशंस. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर कोई वैष्णो देवी जाता है तो भैरवनाथ भी वो जरूर जाता है, whether they are upper caste or lower caste. So Bhairanath is a Shiv for everybody. So Yogendra Singh has explained these things. And फिर वो later on he explains how the great traditions of British, they influenced the little traditions of Indian masses. Drink करना, ये great tradition का part था. Okay, to take liquor or alcohol. And the Indian masses and Indian elite got influenced. Even Brahmins started drinking. Okay, those who were in influence of British. So he goes like that. Using these constructs, Yogendra Singh has explained social change in India. So there is no need of any other book if you have read that book 2-3 times. And one more thing I want to say is whatever books you read, if you are writing mains next year, read them at least 2 to 3 times. Just one reading is not going to give you crystal clarity on any topic. Yes, next please.
Okay, thank you, Chandan sir. Now, may I request everyone and Chandan sir also, we'll just take a question in just one line. We'll not have follow-up question. And Chandan sir, if you can, keep it crisp, because then we'll wrap it up, because we have got a lot of questions. And Chandan sir, is it okay if the aspirants contact you? Is there a way to contact you after this session also? Let's say email or any other social media platform?
हाँ जी, कर सकते हैं सर, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. ईमेल में थोड़ा सा मुश्किल लगता है, मतलब whatever आप सजेस्ट करिए क्या बेस्ट है, we can do that.
चलो, then we'll discuss it offline. हम लोग एक बार बात कर लेंगे, because I think a lot of people would like to touch base with you on some of the follow-up questions. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. Gitika Arora.
Yes, sir, Gitika Arora.
Gitika, please go ahead.
Sir, I just got mesmerized the way you explained the little tradition and the great tradition right now. Earlier, I just read the definition and I was not able to understand the concept very clearly. So I want to ask, as you mentioned, to read as much books as we can. But due to the paucity of time, and we have to do GS and HA and all the subjects, so will we be able to do that, or how will we revise at the end, at the time of examination? That's my question.
So it depends upon the time that you have. If you're writing mains this year, then certainly you will not be able to read the books thoroughly. But then you have to find out a thinker and read some article or chapter of thinker. But if you're writing next year, then try to read books. At least make sure you're reading 2 books on paper 1 and at least 3 books on paper 2. Because paper 2 books are comparatively easy, less theoretical. 5 books is okay to start with.
Okay.
So just a follow-up question, can I ask?
Yes.
Sir, people say that if there's a topic like caste, you have to read that topic only. But now you're saying that you have to read the book by M.N. Srinivas to understand what is caste. So, there'll be a lot of books to understand the topic.
Yeah, if you have to compete with a student like me, then you must read that book. Because in India, every year there are a few students who will be reading these books. People from Delhi School of Economics, JNU, Masters in Sociology, they read these books, right? So, you can compete with them. I have competed with them, okay? Many of my students were from Delhi School Sociology. So, in long run, that is the best strategy. But in short run, paucity of time, you cannot do that. So, do whatever is possible. Right answer.
Okay. Thank you, Gitika. Roshan Balsare or Shyam Kute, whoever is there, you can ask. Shyam. Shyam, you have to unmute yourself first. All right. While you learn that technology, Yadam Srinivas Rao. Yadam Srinivas. Okay, Lakshay Sehrawat.
Sir, Sham Kutte here.
Go ahead.
Sir, I seen last year question paper. There are so many questions. They have disguised meaning. For example, there is one question in 2016. Vertical mobility brings structural change even in a closed social system. Comment. Then how to tackle these questions? They mention vertical mobility brings structural change in closed social system. Closed social system. There is no mobility. Then how to tackle these questions, sir?
No, but see, it is only a theoretical idea that theoretically in closed social system there is no social mobility, but in open system there is social mobility. But if there is a vertical mobility, then structure of the closed system will change. You just have to elaborate that. If lower caste as a whole, as a group, they attain upward social mobility, then structure has changed. Then that five-fold division will not be existing, right? I think you are confused between. You are saying vertical mobility is just for their.
I confused in close सोशल सिस्टम में मोबिलिटी नहीं हो सकती ऐसा मैंने पढ़ा है तो इसलिए मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया था इस क्वेश्चन में सर
आपने बिल्कुल सही पढ़ा क्लोज में वर्टिकल मोबिलिटी नहीं होती
नहीं
बट वो कहता है कि अगर वर्टिकल मोबिलिटी हो गई क्लोज्ड में तो चेंज हो जाए हाँ बोलो हाँ चेंज हो जाएगा बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहा है वो कि चेंज हो जाएगा
तो सर हाँ अच्छा तो ये ऐसे क्वेश्चन अगर एग्जाम में आए तो उसको कैसे टैकल करें सर ऐसा मेरे कंफ्यूजन था मैंने उसका आंसर ढूंढ लिया मैंने मतलब उसका थोड़ा सोचा और उसके लिए मुझे बहुत टाइम लगा और एग्जाम में हमें इतना टाइम नहीं रहता सर तो इसे इस क्वेश्चन को टैकल कैसे करें
practice writing answers abhi you once you start practicing you will get practice and read more that's it
thank you sir thank you
okay Lakshya Sehrawat Dhanshri Dhomse
yes sir
please ask your question Dhanshri
sir I want to ask that how to get best understanding of the thinker's part and how we get to know that I have understood this thinker the way needed in UPSC exam so that I can write better answers in the exam.
Okay, there are two ways of understanding thinkers. One way is reading Ritzler. There is one chapter on every thinker, so you can cover thinkers from there. One is that, do that. Second way of doing thinkers is open the book Harlambus, the index given on the back side, select Weber, and wherever Weber has been mentioned, the page numbers, go and read those page numbers, those pages, that particular paragraphs. You will understand Weber in the context, for example. When you in some pages it will be talking about religion, some in politics, some in women, some in society, marriage. So you will understand Weber on the substantive topics. So do both the things. One is that. Now second is how you will know that you have understood thinkers. Your answers will start falling in line. Once you start getting good marks in test series, it means you have understood the thinkers. And you will yourself realize that ab ho gaya thinkers ka.
Okay, thank you, Dhanshri. Chandan sir, couple of people I see are asking similar questions regarding making notes, like when to start making notes, how to go about making notes so that revision is thoroughly done, these kind of things. So you can share your thoughts.
See, I do not suggest making notes, big notes, certainly no. Make one-page notes. Suppose you are going to read an article today. It is a 10 pages article. Take one sheet of paper, okay, on one side of it, just write keywords, write thinker. Do not make lines, do not write paragraphs while making notes. Just fetch concepts, ideas, phrases, that's it. And while going to exam, revise that. You will yourself make lines and sentences once you have the keywords in mind. Somewhere I feel UPSC is all about keywords.
Absolutely. Especially in optional, even more.
Yeah. Capture the keywords. Do not make big notes, okay? This leads to time wastage. And secondly, when you read the same material twice, the second time, third time, on the same paper, write more few words. That's it.
Yeah, and
I did that.
Chandan sir, then there is a follow-up question I see little down. Somebody saying, then how do we revise in exam without notes?
No, I say make notes. I say fetch the keywords, whatever you read. Once those keywords are there before your eyes,
That
you
should
can
be
always,
sufficient.
Make paragraph, make sentence, make an argument on that. होता क्या है ना कि keywords नहीं याद रहते हैं.
नहीं, I remember even when I had started preparation, pretty much the same time you would have also started. सभी उस समय जो हमारे बड़े बड़े टीचर्स होते थे सभी कहते थे कि लैंग्वेज को पकड़ो. Something that Chandan sir you also started by saying कि every subject has got its language, its terminology, its vocabulary, the usually used phrases and concepts and thinkers and ideas. So that is what we have to capture absolutely, and very rightly as you said, the alphabets. You know, every subject has its own dimensions to analyze a question. So all those dimensions we should prepare. Anyway, one more thing which I see now, I'm scanning the questions to make it shorter. A lot of people are asking, the similar kind of thing that, sir, there are too many thinkers, and gradually after a point they all look similar. So though
See, first,
Chandan sir.
See, when I started preparation, I found all these thinkers very boring. But once you understand the concept, you are able to understand the language of the subject. You will fall in love with these thinkers. Okay? Yeah. Once I had a fight with my wife, so a thinker Gali came to my mind a few months back. Galie, Gali, a thinker. Okay, he said concepts in political science. He said the exact phrase he says is politics is an essentially contested concept. Okay, so when I had an argument, so I said love is an essentially contested concept. Okay, so how you do that? So Gali said that. So once you are able to appreciate now precisely what he wants to say, you will not forget the thinker. Thinker will remain in your mind. All those who have understood Sanskritization will surely start liking M.N. Srinivas. And those who do not like him, it means you have not understood him. That's it. The concept of dominant caste, the dominant caste concept, it is such a powerful concept to explain Indian society. And likewise, Sanskritization is such a powerful concept. You just cannot understand Indian society without understanding these concepts. And unfortunately, I have not seen any coaching which gives clarity on these concepts. So coming back to the answer, the problem of too many thinkers is no problem. The problem is that there is no understanding. That is why you find these thinkers too many in number. And second is, what was second question, sir?
No, it was the same thing which you have answered, I think. And a lot of people have asked again and again on the IGNOU material, which you have answered very, very categorically. So I'll skip that. Then any specific strategy or suggestion to attempt, so many questions, 19 questions in 3 hours? You have already discussed the space criteria rather than the time criteria. Anything else that you want to add there?
No, sir. Practice.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is there. Practice and always have a boundary at the page level. 1 page, 1.5 page, whatever we have to write, and then we should be able to finish the question. Okay. So Himanshu Bansal, if you still want to ask a question, I think it's largely answered. Otherwise, Vikas Tomar. No, Dipali Bhardwaj. You guys write a lot. I'm sure you will not have trouble writing answers. लोगों ने ऐसे लिखे हुए. Dipali Bhardwaj, no. Gaurav. Okay, Shubh Dere. Oh, these
Yes,
are.
sir.
Yes,
Hello.
please. You can. I think you can ask. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So there was a question in Next 2020. Could you please throw some light on how to framework that question? I will read that question to you, sir. Hello.
You can ask your question
Which
now.
question?
Is it? Chandan may not be able to
Yes, sir. The question,
trace that.
yes, sir. The question reads: Has reduction of green cover affected ecological degradation, leading to global warming? Elaborate your answer with best wishes. So, how to go on with sociological perspective in such questions?
I'll tell you the trick. To
Yes,
make
sir.
anything sociological, use language of sociology, talk about caste, talk about how green cover will affect communities, how community life will be affected positively, negatively, okay, how uh, how economics of the tribes might get affected, okay. I've not seen the question, okay, so I don't have any idea about what exact question is, and I've not even understood it. So what I say is to make it sociological, to give a sociological perspective to anything, speak about the concepts of sociology: women, tribe, exploitation, economics, oppression, social discrimination, social exclusion, environmental degradation, community disturbance, sacred groups. So these things. If you can write some answer and you can send it to me, I can evaluate it further.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Shubh. As Chandan sir has said, you can attempt writing, and I think that gives a starting point at least. Though I see it's a very weirdly framed question, but UPSC has a habit of putting in one question which will definitely topple you off your seat. So that's fine. Moving on, Chandan sir. Some people have asked. Nikki Hamilton has asked: Is it safe to incorporate examples regarding political personalities in our answers?
Do not create any examples by your own. If some thinker has said something on, let us say, Trump, then you can quote that thinker and do. Do not become a thinker, okay? You must know it. You must not think anything. Try to find out if somebody has commented on that. And second thing is, sociology never talks about individuals. Sociology talks about structures. It may be psychology which talks about personality types, individuals.
Yes.
So I've never quoted any personality like that.
Yeah, that's the essential difference because I studied psychology for my UPSC. There's the fundamental difference we used to study between sociology and psychology, that psychology is individual behaviors and sociology is group behavior based on structures and processes, the systems of society. Okay, just on that point, what Chandan sir said, I'll also add, like, since yesterday this is something which is coming up again and again, so I'll just put what Chandan sir has said in slightly different words. You can write whatever you want to write, but remember, nobody is bothered what you want to say. They want to know who said it, which sociological thinker has said it. So whatever you say, it has to be always substantiated by some theory or somebody's confirmation of that idea or somebody's views on that idea. So, and that is where as actually the difference between a GS answer and a sociology paper comes in actually. That it is always backed by some empirical or some theoretical backing as well.
Yeah, it is always backed by a good research.
Yes, yes.
Any argument is backed by a research.
Absolutely. So it's not something which you feel or I feel.
Sir, it brings me to one more very good concept by Max Weber, and I think students will appreciate that. See, Max Weber's ideal types are sociological in nature. They are not philosophical in nature. For example, why? Because Weber said when you when you construct an ideal type, features of ideal type, you look at a society, Chinese society, German society, you look at them, observe those societies, and you take a feature of that. When Weber created ideal type of bureaucracy, he looked at various bureaucracies. He did not speculate on any of the bureaucracy. It was not out of the mind that he has written a feature of bureaucracy in his ideal types of bureaucracy.
all the features mentioned by him are present somewhere in the present societies, or they were present in the past societies. So that is why Weber's ideal types are sociological in nature. They are not philosophical, because they do not come from speculative armchair thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In psychology, we call it grounded theory. A theory must be grounded. Grounded means it is grounded in some kind of research. Maybe it is nothing but
But Dipali is asking a good question on tribes. We can answer that also.
yeah, sure.
Sequence. Yeah. But she has to ask it.
Acha. So we'll
She has
reach
written
Dipali
about-
also then. Mandeep has not asked. Okay, Aishwarya Agarwal, you just
Hello. Yeah. Hello, sir.
yes.
Sir.
Aishwarya, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hello. Yeah. Hello, sir. Sir, you started the session by saying that when we study sociology, we tend to think rather than know. So we should first know. So can you elaborate on that? Because whenever I study it, I usually tend to think more, and I think that will clear my concept. So can you elaborate, please? Thanks.
Okay. See, UPSC preparation is all about knowing. Okay, it is about knowledge. It is not about thinking. When I say that, what do I mean? What I mean is, you must know what Bete has said on caste. You must know what India's Marxists, various strands of India's Marxists, they speak on politics, or what Dhanagere has said on agrarian social structure. हमारा अपना कुछ नहीं है. Do you understand Hindi? हमारा अपना कुछ नहीं है उसमें.
हाँ सर.
ओके, आपको अपना दिमाग नहीं लगाना है कि इंडिया सोसाइटी ऐसी है, कैसी है. जैसा जिसने बोल दिया, आपको सिर्फ उसे जानना है, सोचना नहीं है उसके बारे में. मैंने देखा, जब भी मैं खुद सोचने लगा था, तो मैं मतलब दूसरी दुनिया में जीने लगा था. फिलोसोफर बन गया था. तो फिलोसोफर नहीं बनना है, सिविल सर्विस का एस्पिरेंट रहना है. और यही डिफरेंस है. सिविल सर्विस, अभी मैं एक यूनिवर्सिटी में हूँ, ठीक है. बहुत सारे प्रोफेसर्स हैं, सोशियोलॉजी वाले भी हैं. उनमें और मेरे में यही डिफरेंस है. वो सोचते रहते हैं सोशियोलॉजी के बारे में. मैं सोचता नहीं हूँ. मैं अपनी बड़ी प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच है. भाई वेबर ने ये बोला, डरखाइन ने ये बोला, मैं कुछ नहीं बोलता. मुझे कुछ नहीं पता, उन्होंने ये बोला. जब आप इस एटीट्यूड से करोगे, थोड़ा डिटैच्ड होके करोगे, तो आपकी नॉलेज ग्रो करेगी. जब आप उसमें ज्यादा डूब जाओगे ना, तो सारे इसके सारे पहली बात तो पहले महीने ही क्लास करके महापात्रा सर की ना कार्ल मार्क्स बन जाते हैं. वो 1 साल तक कार्ल मार्क्स बने रहते हैं. तो कुछ भी मत बनो, ना वेबर बनो, ना डरखाइन बनो, ना मार्क्स बनो, कुछ मत बनो. बस ये जानो किसने क्या कहा, और उसने जो कहा दूसरे ने उसको क्या कहा. बस थोड़ी सी प्रैक्टिकल आप से नॉलेज को रखोगे तो अच्छा ग्रो करोगे. और दूसरा क्या है, ऐसा जानने से क्या होता है? ऐसा जानने से ऑब्जेक्टिविटी आती है अंडरस्टैंडिंग में. मैं इसको ऑब्जेक्टिफाई कहता हूँ, कि आप पूरी नॉलेज को ना ऑब्जेक्टिफाई कर लो, कि अच्छा यार बेटे ने 4 चीज बोली थी, दरखाइन ने 5 बोली थी, उसने 2 बोली थी, उसने तो कुछ बोला ही नहीं. बस जब आप उस चीज को ऑब्जेक्टिफाई कर लेते हो, तो आपके पास रेडीमेड टूल्स रहते हैं आंसर लिखने समय. कि हमसे 2 चीजें लिखी हैं, वो 2 याद रहेंगी आपको. तो सोचो मत ज्यादा, जानो. वो है.
Okay, that's very well said, Chandan sir. Aishwarya Kamble, if you are there, you can ask your question. Aishwarya Kamble, and then we'll go to Dipali. Aishwarya is not there. Dipali, you can ask now. Dipali.
Hello, sir. Which one I should prefer where I can get accurate information, like sociologists describing tribes?
See, you asked a question that there are so many thinkers telling so many different things about tribe, and which is correct. What is correct?
Yeah.
All
Sir,
of them are correct.
Sorry?
All the thinkers are correct. None of the thinker is wrong. So what you have to do is, so let us say definition of tribe. See, 10 different thinkers will define tribe differently. What you have to do is just adopt one definition, whichever you feel is good. First point. Second, you must know what are the critics of that thinker. If somebody says tribe are those people who live in forest areas. Okay, maybe somebody has defined it like that. So, okay, you adopt that definition with the thinker. Okay, this thinker defines tribes like this. But then you must know what others say on his definition. What are his critics? Because the other definition will say tribe are the people who were in the caste, or somebody will say tribe is a different race. Okay, so now the person who says tribe is a race will be critic to a person who says tribe are people who live in forest. So you select any thinker and his definition and his critics. That's it. Do not get confused. Do not be mistaken that some of those are wrong. Yeah, please.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dipali. Vikas Tomar, you can ask now. I see
Sir,
earlier you
Sir,
could
I
not.
have a question.
Yes, sir.
Let Vikas ask. Vikas, you ask first.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
सर एक्चुअली ऐसे हमें सोशियोलॉजी में जो हमारा स्टार्टिंग का टॉपिक मिलता है सर मॉडर्निटी एंड सोशल चेंज इन यूरोप एंड एमर्जेंस ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी तो बेसिकली अगर हमें इसे डिफाइन करना हो तो जो आपने बोला ऐसे एनलाइटमेंट फेज था अब उसे हम डिफाइन कर सकते हैं एज अ इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन कमर्शलाइजेशन फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन साइंटिफिक रिवॉल्यूशन कि आफ्टर ऑल दोस रिवॉल्यूशन आल्सो
मैंने
यस सर
मैंने ये कुछ नहीं बोला मैंने ये बोला इनलाइटनमेंट जो एज थी वो ऐसी एज थी जिसमें ये आइडिया आया कि लेट अस यूज रीजन एंड लॉजिक लेट अस यूज साइंटिफिक मेथड्स टू स्टडी सोसाइटी ये इसी को इनलाइटनमेंट कहा जाता है द यूज ऑफ लॉजिक एंड रीजन टू स्टडी सोसाइटी का ये जो आइडिया है ना इसी को इनलाइटनमेंट कहा जाता है ये जो आइडियाज आए ये 1700s में आए उसी टाइम पर इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन भी हुआ ठीक है वो तो चल ही रहा था साइंटिफिक रेवोल्यूशन का अगला प्रोडक्ट इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन था 1600s में साइंटिफिक रेवोल्यूशन हुई 1700s 1800s में चलो इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हुआ 1800s में बट इनलाइटनमेंट जो है उसकी वजह से फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन पे इफेक्ट आता है फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन भी वही आइडिया था व्हाई किंग शुड हैव ऑल द अथॉरिटी देयर शुड बी सम रीजन एंड लॉजिक पीपल स्टार्टेड चैलेंजिंग दैट तो फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन तो इनलाइटनमेंट से इन्फ्लुएंस हुआ था इनलाइटनमेंट क्या था यूज ऑफ रीजन एंड लॉजिक टू स्टडी सोसाइटी अब आप अपना क्वेश्चन पूछो क्या कहना चाहते हो
Yes, sir. So, sir, how we can explain the emergence of sociology on the basis of European ideas, which led to emergence of sociology?
You read. Have you heard of a book, Baltimore?
No, sir.
You read first 50 pages of Baltimore.
Okay, sir.
You will understand emergence of sociology. There cannot be any better understanding than that.
Okay, sir.
Secondly, you read the first chapter of Ritzler. First two chapters of Ritzler. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Great. Aishwarya Kamble, now you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I had joined Mahapatra sir classes in 2019 batch, and whatever sir taught in class, I make my own notes. Apart from that, they provided some notes, but I decided that I will prepare my own class notes. So, sir, what will you suggest me? Should I prefer some standard books or?
Okay. Are you writing names this time?
No, sir.
Okay. So what I suggest is read Mahapatra sir's notes, or you have already read it. Just open those notes, see a topic, find the thinker that he has mentioned, read on that thinker from some standard book that I have told. Reading same Mahapatra sir's notes again and again will not make any sense. It will not help you develop a very clear understanding of the concepts. Clear, good understanding will come only with the books. I just want to be very straightforward, okay? I don't want to make fool of you guys. You have to read books, okay? That has been my strategy, and that is what I sincerely believe in. Yeah. Even I have been taught by Mahapatra sir, but I have read books.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Aishwarya. And on that note, sir, Chandan sir, we have used 1 hour 45 minutes, a lot of time. Questions are unending, but you and I will see how to take this forward, and if people have follow-up questions, because they do, how to keep the engagement going on, if they want to discuss. Maybe after a month or so, we can again have a session targeting for beginners, in terms of those who are preparing for next year's exam specifically, and we can have a longer term, hand holding and guidance. So on behalf of everybody, I would like to thank you, Chandan sir, for taking out the time. It has been a delight for me also to listen to you. We have never shared our ideas on sociology because that was not a common ground. But a couple of things which even I picked up, especially the idea which I used to say in different ways, that don't become a thinker yourself. Remember what our role is. So also in administration, we have to know a lot of things, but we are not actually one of them ourselves. So we have to use all those thoughts to drive our vision forward. So yes, I mean that is something even I am going to use and quote you, that my friend Chandan says, don't become a thinker yourself. पढ़ो सबको, लेकिन अपना पढ़ के उससे बस knowledge gain करते रहो. Know them. So thank you, Chandan sir. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Chandan sir, you want to say any last thoughts?
इसमें जो आपने बोला कि हमें कुछ वो थिंकर नहीं बनना, we don't have to become a thinker ourselves. What I believe is जो निष्काम कर्म वाली approach है ना sir, once you become that, then you get too much attached with it. ज़्यादा attached हो जाते हैं तो फिर वो आगे नहीं बढ़ पाते हैं. तो थोड़ा सा आर्म्स लेंथ पे रखो, थोड़ा निष्काम तरीके से तैयारी किया जाए, तो ज़्यादा अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आती है, ज़्यादा ऑब्जेक्टिविटी आती है.
Exactly, absolutely. Okay, then on that note, thank you, Chandan sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you,
all the best. Good night.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.